Hey guys, in this video we'll basically be animating this SVG that you see in front of you. So a few things before we start animating this. Obviously, before we even export this SVG and bring it into our HTML file, what we want to do is actually, let's say, group everything or actually name the things that we want to work with. So for example, here we have this cloud. I want to animate it, so I've given it a cloud right name. Similarly, I've given this particular thing a cloud left. I want to animate this hand, so I've given it a left hand. I want to animate this flower or plant, so I've given it a plant 3, a plant 2 here, a plant 1 here. And I also want to animate these wheels, so I've given it a wheel front and then a wheel back. And let's just go ahead and actually animate this thing as well, so name it C. So after you've basically selected and given the names for identification for the things that you actually want to animate or group them or arrange them in the SVG however you want, you can actually go and export this SVG. But before you even do that, actually click this icon and actually say include ID attributes, because if you don't do that, then any of the names that you're actually mentioning here wouldn't come in the export. So once you've done that, you can actually export it. So I have exported it, and let's just go ahead and actually drag the code into our file. I'm going to copy that thing and I'm going to actually place it here. So here we go. Here's our SVG file. So the few things that you actually need to do is just start animating. So the first thing that I actually want to work with are these wheels. So I know that I've given the wheel a wheel right and a wheel left. So I'm going to give target those things, a wheel right and a wheel left, and then I'm going to say the animation is, let's say, going to go. It's going to be a rotating animation, a rotate animation. Obviously, I'm going to create that animation. I'm going to say it goes for, let's say, 1 second. It's going to be linear. It's going to be infinite. So it's going to infinitely move. And I think that should be fine. Now let's go ahead and actually create an animation. So let's say keyframes rotate. Let me just go ahead and actually disable this for an hour. So rotate, and it's going to go from 0% to transform, and then it's going to go rotate 0 degrees to, let's say, 360 degrees or something. So let's just save it and see how that looks. So obviously that does not work for some reason. So let's just see why it doesn't work. So let's go ahead and actually see if our wheels actually are named correctly. So it's not wheel left and right, it's actually wheel front and back. So I need to correct those names for wheel front and then wheel back. So save them, and as we can see, it's rotating, but I don't know what's happening. Well, I actually do know what's happening. So what we basically want to do is we actually want to say that you need to rotate from your center. So for that, we actually need to do two things. We want to give a transform box property, which is going to be fill box. And then we're going to give a transform origin property. And we're going to say it's going to actually, its origin is going to be its center. So now as you can see, it works fine. The wheels rotate fine. What we want to do next is we want to animate the clouds. So I'm going to say cloud underscore, I don't even remember the name, even though I just gave it. So cloud right. And I basically want to say the animation for the cloud right. Let me just call it cloud right, just for convenience. I'm going to say it's going to move for 8 seconds. It's going to be linear as well. It's going to be infinite. And I think that should be fine. I'm going to basically copy this rotate thing and I'm going to paste it here. Let's say cloud right. What I basically want to do is I want to move it from right to left. So I'm going to say it's going to translate X, and the translate X is going to begin from 0 pixels. And it's going to actually end at, let's say, I don't know, 400 pixels or something. So let's just see how that looks. Obviously, we can tweak it afterwards as well. Sorry, not 400, because 400 is actually going to take it further to the right, to the left. So 400 to the left, I think that's looking pretty good. The speed is also something that I'm okay with, but okay, so it actually starts from here. So what I want to do is I want to start it from here or something. So I'm just going to give its initial value in negative. So let's just make it minus 200, not 2000, sorry, 200. And let's just refresh how that looks. Sorry, not minus 200, 200. So it actually moves to the right in the beginning. So now it's coming from the outside. I think I also want to make it slightly slower, so let's just increase the time, and I think that should be fine. Now give the same a similar thing to the cloud left. Name it cloud left. The time that the cloud left takes can also be 900 seconds. This should also start further from the right, so I'm going to give it 500 pixels, and it can probably end at minus 200 pixels because it's already way close to the left edge. So as we can see, we have our two clouds. The smaller cloud is obviously moving faster. What I also want to do is I probably want to have the smaller cloud start even before the animation has begun. So obviously with 2 seconds it's actually delaying the animation, but minus 2 seconds is actually going to begin it even before. So now as we can see, the smaller cloud is moving faster than the larger one, and I think here it's also going to appear much faster. Let's even start it even way before. So minus 4 seconds. So I think, yeah, just to give a bit more distance between those clouds so they look good. So I think that's done. Let's just move the hand as well. So what was the name of the hand? So it's left hand. So the same thing with the left hand. I'm going to copy this thing. I'm going to name it left hand. Obviously you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to say it's going to be 1 second and no delay. And it's going to alternate in its animation. So the reason why I've said alternate is because the hand's going to go up and down slightly. In the case of the clouds, I just want them to move from the right to the left. So I don't want them to move from right to the left and then left to the right, because that's what alternate is going to do. So I just want that in the hands case at the very least right now. So let's just go ahead and actually copy this, paste it here. I basically want to move the hand up and down, so I'm going to make it Y. Obviously, I want the hand to move really slightly, so let's just say 0 to 10 pixels and change this to left hand, and let's just see how that looks. So I think that's looking slightly weird to me, honestly, because I want it to move down, not up. So let's just go ahead and actually do that. So I think this looks good, though I think it should be slightly smaller, probably 6 pixels would be fine. Yeah, I think this looks good. One thing obviously though is that it's actually overlapping the shirt, probably because it's placed above the shirt. So I want to move the shirt below this particular group. So I'm just going to go to my SVG file. Here's the shirt. Let's just go ahead and cut it. Actually collapse the group for the left hand, paste it here. And now as we can see, it's moving up and down, but it's actually overlapping the hand, so it doesn't look weird. So I think that looks good. I want to now animate the C up and down. So I'm going to do something very similar with the C here. I'm going to name it C. Let's just make it C as well. I think that's fine. The C should be probably animate a bit more, 0 and 20 pixels, and let's just see how the C looks. So I think the C probably looks fine. I think it's animating a bit fast for considering that it's the C. So let's just move it slightly slower. Yeah, I think the C looks fine. Now let's just quickly go ahead and animate the plants. So I think the name of the plant was plant 2 and then plant 3 or something. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and actually animate plant 2 and plant 3. So here we have plant 2 and then here we have plant 3. We basically want to rotate the plant similar to the wheels. So I'm just going to copy this particular these things, and I'm going to copy the rotate tag as well. Obviously, I'm going to give it a plant right rotate, probably plant rotate or something. So this is going to be the plant rotate. Obviously, I don't want the plants to move completely in circular. So I'm going to say 20 degrees is probably going to be sufficient. I don't know. So let's just see how that works. So it looks weird because obviously it's rotating from the center. What I want to do, or what I want to say here, is it should rotate from the bottom left, because that's where the point of their branches are in the ground. So let's just do that, and I think this probably looks fine. Obviously, I think we need to do the alternate thing so they actually move to and fro. So yeah, this looks good. I think this should actually be slightly smaller, 10 degrees maybe. So yeah, I think this looks fine. Though I actually want to move the plants slightly differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to copy these things I'm going to make this plant too, and I'm going to give a delay between the plant animations. I'm actually going to say this is going to start -2 seconds. One other thing that we want to do is instead of linear, we want to say ease in and out, so they moved very smoothly. So let's just see how that looks. So now we have the animation. I think that looks good. We're going to do the same thing for plant 1. And let's just say plant 1 is also going to rotate and everything. Let's just save. And we can see the plant 1 rotating as well. The one problem with this is that the root of the plant is no longer on the bottom left. It's actually on the bottom right. So I'm going to say bottom right, and that should hopefully improve the animation of this plant as well. So yeah, here we have our SVG animation. Now, obviously, you can tweak this animation in any way you want. You can obviously move this whole thing up and down, the person up and down, any of these things up and down as well. So that's up to your discretion. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Do subscribe, to hit the bell icon. Do let me know if you find this video useful and if there's anything specific you'd like to see. But I think that's pretty much it for this video. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.